The ring, it's gone. I'll tell you what I did with it. But first I want to take some time to tell you what marriage meant to me. You may have some ideas of what it meant to me, as I am a gay man. I live in the United States of America, but I want you to hear it from my mouth. I am not one of those gay men, and I'm only going to speak for gay men here. I'm not going to talk for all LGBTQ plus people, because I'm not every person, but I am not one of those gay men who popped out of the womb knowing exactly what my sexuality was and who I was going to be attracted to and who I'd want to love. In fact, for me, in the early years, what I remember was having a lot of crushes on women, on girls, and wanting to date them and envisioning myself with a life with women. But then adolescence and puberty kicked in, as they do, and I started to realize I have an attraction for men. It's not women really so much. This wasn't something that was like easy to go through, and it was something that was very confusing, and I spent a lot of years thinking about, like, am I gay? Is that what we call this? And for me, it really solidified, I think, when I had a crush on a male peer in school, and that made me feel like, okay, like, this is real. This isn't just like, you know, having fun or whatever. This is a thing. And it felt that way for me because these were loving feelings. They weren't just friendship feelings. Friendship feelings are great, don't get me wrong, and I still have friendship feelings for guys. It's not like that goes away, but when it came to men, I realized, like, I really have really close, intimate, loving feelings for men, more than I feel for women, which really confused me because everything up until that point had been women. I don't want to get into like the whole backstory of how difficult this was and all the years it took to work through this, and I just want to like summarize here. You know, I had a lot of bad experiences with men, so to feel loving feelings towards men in this way, which was just very confusing, and it took a long time to work through it, and eventually I realized, like, this is what I want. This is what feels right. This is what makes sense to me. This is what my body says I'm drawn to. And so I finally accepted it and decided, yeah, I'm gay. And along with that came a lot of challenges. And I'm sure if you are a straight person, I'm sure you've been made aware that things are not so easy as a gay person, and it's hard to even find somebody to date. Now, I want to like clarify here, because I know there's this stereotype out there, and I believe in that stereotype too, that there's a lot of gay men particularly who are very interested in the experience that's more intimate. I'm not going to say it because YouTube probably doesn't want me to say it, but you know what I'm talking about here. They want a certain kind of relationship that's not really a relationship, and I'm not that person. I did go through a short period where that was kind of my experience of life, and I decided, like, I'm doing this acting out of different things that happened in my past, and this is not actually what's fulfilling me, and this is not what I want. So for me, when we talk about marriage, I don't really care about ceremony, and I don't care about religion for me. For other people, I understand it's important, and that's great, and that's fine. That's totally, I'm okay with that. For me personally, all of the tradition and the ceremony and the religion doesn't really mean as much, but the commitment means a lot. And the commitment especially means a lot to me because I struggle to find gay men who actually care about the commitment. So I feel like a minority within a minority, and I'm seeking something that it seems like a lot of people don't really want. So for me, it means that much more because it's so rare and so hard to come by. And frankly, I don't even feel like I see a lot of representations of that throughout the media, in my life. Like, I just don't know a lot of that, and I seek it out when I can find it, and I try to amplify it in my mind because it feels like it's not really there. It's frustrating. Now, I could make this a really long video, but I don't have the time, and I don't want to waste your time just telling my entire story here. But when my ex proposed to me, it was under weird circumstances. He had just cheated on me, and it didn't really feel like the right time to be making a commitment, but I said yes because I wasn't really sure. But I felt like, okay, we're not actually getting married yet. It's just a promise, and I didn't have any plans to leave him, so I thought, okay, like, fine. Later on down the road, though, a couple of years later, when he decided to break up with me, it was devastating that it was my fiance who proposed to me, who made this promise to me, and it wasn't definitely a promise, decided that that wasn't what he wanted anymore. when he cheated on me a few times, that made it super confusing. It really hurt because this was something that I've been wanting all my life, really. Like, I discovered in my teens that this was what love was for me, and I understood at that time that it was going to be more difficult for me to find love, and to feel like I finally got into a relationship with someone who was willing to work things out with me. We were in therapy for a while. It felt like this is it. Like, I don't just pick somebody and kind of like randomly do whatever with whoever. You know, I understand there's a time and place for having fun, but this was not something that I was just having fun with. This was something that I was committed to, and I was ready to spend the rest of my life with my ex. So I had given him a ring when we first met, like couple of months in, just because I wanted him to know that I cared about him. And it wasn't like a wedding ring or anything. It wasn't an engagement ring. It was just a ring to say, like, I love you. And he wore that all the time, but then when we would fight, he would take it off, and that was, let's not go there, but that was really painful. But the ring meant something to me. It wasn't just like a floozy ring just for the hell of it. It meant that I loved you and I cared about you, and I wanted you to know that when you wore it. So my ex gave me an engagement ring, obviously, when he proposed to me, and that ring, for me, it was a reminder of our relationship. It was a reminder of our bond. It was a reminder of our love for each other, our commitment to each other. And when I was feeling insecure or I was feeling anxious, I would fiddle with the ring, and the ring was a reminder of somebody else out there who cared about me, who wanted me to feel better, who didn't want me to necessarily feel anxious, although I question all of that now. But it was a source of commitment to me. Like, I think that's what a ring means to most people, but that's what it meant to me. I was devastated when we were together for 6 years and he decided we were going to break up. And it was like everything that I dreamed of us doing together fell apart, because I dreamed of us, you know, working things out. Obviously we had problems, but I've always had the thought in my head, like, we're going to figure this out, we're going to work this through, and our relationship's going to grow together, and we're going to grow together, and it's going to be a beautiful relationship, and eventually we would get married. And it didn't have to be a ceremony, it didn't have to be anything big. I think maybe he wanted it to be, which I would have bent and I would have been fine with. But to me, it was really about the commitment, and it was about living together forever, and, you know, until whenever. And being in love and showing the world, although to me I don't really care if the world sees it or not, but showing the world, like, yeah, this is a thing, like, we care about each other. So when things went down and I had known that he had an ex before, I found out that he had been engaged to that ex as well, which I never knew. And I also found out that he very quickly moved on from that ex to me, which I also did not know. And since he wasn't honoring me as a person, he wasn't honoring our relationship, even a friendship, he wasn't really being nice to me in general, I had let him know, like, if you're not going to respect my boundaries, if we're not going to at least break up together, and not, you know, he was avoiding me all the time, then I'm taking the ring off, you know. And I wanted him to know that, because I wanted him to know what that symbolized for me. And so that's what I did. And I left it in a place which I'm not going to talk about, but it symbolizes something to me that I left it where I left it. And it's, as far as I know, he has it somewhere. So for me, getting over my ex-fiance, I have a hard time sometimes even remembering that it was a fiance because of the way he treated me. But the hardest part for me was letting go of those dreams, the future that I envisioned for us, and the connection that it had to me as a child, as a teenager, and growing into full adulthood, what a relationship actually meant. I had to kind of let go of a little bit of that, and that was hard. I tried to remind myself that this didn't have to be the only relationship in my life, and that there will be other people out there that feel the same way. Even if it's really hard to find them, even if, you know, today I still haven't found that person and I lose confidence all the time that I'm going to find that person, I know they're out there. I mean, I'm talking to you because you probably care, and you may not be a gay man and you may not be interested in me, and that's totally fine. I don't need everybody to be interested in me or even to agree with me. But I know that there's somebody. This world has 7 billion people and growing as far as I'm aware. So there's somebody out there, whether I connect with them today or whether I connect with them in 20 years or 10 years or 5 years or 1 year, whatever, they're there. That thought, I think, comforts me the most. So that dream doesn't have to be gone. That dream can live on inside of me, and all of the love that I had for my ex is still there. I can give it to somebody else, somebody who values it, and build a real relationship, something that's worth it. And I hope that with you and your ex-fiance, you can realize that too, that just because your ex-fiance may be out of your life, that doesn't mean that you can't find somebody else who you can love with an even healthier and better relationship. What has been the hardest thing for you to get over with your ex-fiance? Let me know down below in the comments.